guys, what's up? My name is Caitlin. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am so thankful that you are here today. And today I want to talk about having a wellness routine or like a self-care routine when it comes to like all areas of your life. I mean, there's more areas than we're going to go over today, but today I'm just going to give you tips and tricks on how to have like a routine for focusing on these areas of your life to help take care of yourself overall. Oftentimes it's like, oh, self-care is just like a face mask and a bubble bath and a fuzzy robe. There's so many other things when it comes to your overall well-being, so we're just going to talk about that today. So grab some water, get cozy, and we're just going to get right into it. So the first area I'm going to talk about today is your physical well-being. Do you take care of yourself physically? Do you work out? Do you drink water? Do you do stretching? Do you get body work done, such as like massages or fascia stretch therapy? Do you also go to the doctor regularly? I feel like self-care is taking care of your physical self. Are you eating well? Are you limiting the amount of junk food that you eat? Like, these things actually make a big difference, like I said, in your overall well-being, because if you don't feel very good physically, it's hard to go out and like create the life of your dreams or accomplish your goals or whatever because you're physically on empty. So it's important to create habits that make you feel good physically. That is like so important, and I feel like oftentimes it's like, oh, I don't have time to work out. I don't need to drink water. I don't need to like do all these things. But like, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How do you feel about yourself physically? And I'm not talking about like how you look. I'm talking about how you feel in your body. Like, how do you feel in your own skin? Do you like neglect yourself, just ignore yourself? Or are you nourishing yourself and giving yourself love and going for walks in nature and just loving yourself? And I guess, like, do you love your physical body? And maybe that is talking about how it looks. And if you don't love how your body looks, it kind of is all tied together. When you take care of yourself, you feel really good. And that impacts all the other areas in your life. So rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how you feel about your overall physical health and well-being. Topic number 2 is your mental well-being. And I'm gonna differentiate between like mental and emotional well-being. So your mental well-being is, are you challenged? Like, are you challenging your brain? Are you learning new things? Are you going on adventures? Are you growing and learning your mind? I feel like when we're not doing this, we kind of just feel stagnant. And so like, you don't have to go to school in order to grow and learn your mind, but are you reading books that expand your mind? Are you taking courses or listening to podcasts or doing things that mentally stimulate you? I feel like if we're on autopilot in life and our brain's not working very hard, then we're just bored. So are you bored, or are you like actively learning and growing? Even just playing a podcast in the car on the commute to work can be so beneficial, because it's like you're learning new things and expanding your horizons, and then it's harder to be bored because you have so many creative ideas, because it's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that before and I'm learning this thing. So rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on how you feel about your mental wellness. Are you bored, or are you like mentally stimulated and excited to be learning and growing? Like, is that even a priority right now? And if that's not, that's okay. Just take note of it. No judgment here right now. Just take note of it. Topic number 3 is your emotional well-being. So a lot of times people are like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need therapy. I don't need self-help. I don't need none of that. But then they're like, oh, but I'm so frustrated in life. I hate my job. I hate this. I hate that. I'm a negative Nancy. It's like, okay, well, maybe you do need to work on your emotional well-being and work on healing your emotions. So when it comes to this, there's so many options out there. Therapy is a really good option, but there's also online courses and books that can help you. And what I do personally is I read a book called The Emotion Code. So every day I use muscle testing, where it's like, oh, do I have trapped emotions? Yes or no? And yes is a solid no, my arm moves. And then it's like, okay, can I release one right now? Yes or no? And I use the emotion code chart, which has like 60 emotions, and then it's like, okay, is it in column A or column B? And then an odd or even row, there's 6 rows, and I find the trapped emotion in my body, and then I release it. So that's been a super duper helpful resource for me. I also use tapping a lot. And that's also really helpful because it's like, oh, even though I feel this way, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself anyways. And you're reaffirming that it's okay that you feel the way that you do. But you can choose to love and accept and forgive yourself anyways, and choose how you would rather feel instead. Where it's like, oh, even though this thing happened and I feel all these ways about it, this doesn't have to define me. And I am ready to let it go, and I let it go right now. And really just looking at your emotions, like how are you actually feeling? And also journaling is a really good tool. Like I journal every morning for 3 whole pages. It takes about 20 minutes. Every day I write about something different. It's like, okay, today is, January 29th, 2023, and here's what's going on in my life. Here's the breakthroughs that I'm having. Here's where I'm going. Here is how I'm feeling. Here's what I want to accomplish. Like, kind of like keeping a diary. Like, teenagers are like, Dear Diary, I love Jonathan so much. But you could write that in your morning pages too. Just just write your heart out on paper. All of those things can be super helpful when working on your emotional well-being. And I've noticed that the more that I heal my inner child, the more I feel like an adult. I don't feel like this lost, screaming child, like, what the hell am I doing with my life? It's like, oh, I'm an adult and I can make decisions and I can speak my truth and I don't need to hide and be invisible and whatever other childhood beliefs I had because I'm no longer a child. And I've healed those parts of me that have been screaming for attention my whole life. So emotional well-being is so important. So please rate yourself on a scale on how you feel about your overall emotional well-being from 1 to 10. And the next tip is financial well-being. What are your financial goals? Are you trying to pay off debt? Are you trying to save money? Are you trying to buy a house? Are you trying to get a different job or make more money or whatever? And then do you have a plan for that? Are you putting this much a month in savings, this much a month paying off debt, this much a month towards all your bills? Do you have an actual written out plan? Or are you just kind of winging it, hoping you have enough money at the end of the month to pay for whatever? I think it's really important to look at your money and not bury your head in the sand and ignore that, because your problems aren't going to go away and they might just get worse if you try to ignore them. And I'm not a financial expert. I just think having awareness can really be important to make sure that you're supported, to make sure that you are not getting things sent to collections and not paying late fees and whatever else. And money can just be a huge stressor. So do you have a plan to prevent unnecessary stressors in your life? I think that that's really important, just something to think about. So how do you feel about your financial wellness? Are you prepared? On a scale from 1 to 10, rate yourself. And last but not least, self-care is resting and is pampering yourself. And I think there can be a good balance. You don't want to be taking naps all the time and bubble baths 24/7 and whatever else and neglecting all the other areas. Because that's not really taking care of yourself, that's just neglecting yourself. And there is a difference. So when you take care of yourself physically and mentally and emotionally and financially and whatever else, then you can treat yourself. Maybe you can take a nap. Maybe you can go get a pedicure. Or maybe a massage is a 2-for-1 where it's oh, I'm pampering myself and helping my physical well-being. There is a time and a place for face masks and bubble baths and manicures and pedicures and whatever else feels good for you. But you should probably prioritize the other areas just as much as you prioritize feeling good in this way too. I mean, all of it's important. Try not to neglect the other areas and be it's fine. I'm just gonna put on a face mask and all my problems are gonna disappear. If you find a face mask like that, let me know. But good luck, Charlie. So now you should have all of those areas written down on a scale from 1 to 10 on how you feel today about those areas of your life. And moving forward, I'd like you to just take note of which area did you score the lowest, and maybe make a small plan or just a plan in general on how you're going to improve that area. If you scored low on your physical well-being, are you going to start going for a 15-minute walk every day? Are you going to drink more water? What needs to happen in order for you to feel better in that area? And maybe you scored decent on most areas, but you'd like them to be better. If they're not at a 7, what do you need to do to get them to a 7? So it's okay, I'm gonna go for walks. I'm gonna listen to the Real AF podcast, for example. I'm gonna start seeing a therapist once a month and start reading, this book starting today. And I'm also going to like look at my finances, that's the first step, and then kind of like figure out, get a baseline from where I'm at, so then I can be like, okay, let me look at my savings. Okay, I have this much. How much do I actually want? How much am I gonna put in it each month, or whatever it is for you? There's no one size fits all, and there's no way to do it wrong. You want to feel good. You want to prioritize your overall well-being, and so like all of these things are connected. Hopefully that is helpful. I just recommend looking at the numbers you scored and then creating a plan moving forward to help you improve those areas if that's important to you. Maybe you didn't score very high in one of the areas and you're like, I don't care about, mental wellness, like I don't care. And that's fine. Like that's absolutely fine. There is no like right or wrong thing. There might be other areas that I didn't mention here that you're like, I need to improve my relationships or my friendships. Like those are important areas where if you don't have strong friendships or like a strong relationship or even a strong relationship with yourself, like that can be an area that greatly affects people. So rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10 on that, and how can you improve it if it's not as good as you'd like it to be. Like play around with this. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you to be like, oh, I'm not feeling very good in this area and I'm ready to start doing, small habits to make me feel better. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I hope this was super helpful. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. I would greatly appreciate it. And I hope that you have a beautiful, fantastic day because you deserve it. So thanks for being here and I'll catch you later. Okay, bye.